Hi guys, John here from Optics Warehouse. So today I'm going to be talking you through a few of the Spuhr rings and a few different interface rings that they do. And I'm also going to go into a little bit of detail just on the height of the ring and what may suit you best. So let's start. As you can see here, we've already got one of the big IOR Crusaders mounted using a one-piece Spuhr mount. Obviously you can tell it's not a full rifle, it is just a stock blank, but it gives you the idea of the height difference and clearance on this one. So as you can see, we've got plenty of clearance under there, and you might be able to see better on that one. So obviously that with an IOR or any large saddled scope like this, the clearance here and the clearance on the erector spring from this side is crucial. Obviously if that comes down too far and you haven't got the clearance there, it doesn't matter if you've got clearance at the front, it's going to catch and it's going to tilt your scope off to one side or the other as well. So once you've picked a scope mount that's going to give you plenty of clearance there, then as I say, you've got to worry about your difference up front. So for example with this one, obviously if you had a standard action mounted in here rather than just a Picatinny rail on a piece of dowling, you'd notice that you've got a huge great gap here. Now that would take up some of it when you've got a heavy barrel on here, but as you can also see, even if you put a flat top rail on here, it's going to give you a few mil of clearance. So this is the 38mm mount in height, and that's why that gives you plenty of clearance. If you're on a standard bolt action, you could get away with a 30mm and 34mm, obviously for the 50 and 56mm objectives. Bearing in mind flat top, you will always need to go higher, which starts at the minimum of the 38mm with the Spuhr mounts. One nice feature on these, if I turn this way, once again you'll see, the way the rings are split across there at the 45-degree angle means you get flat sections everywhere you need it. So you can see all the details on, as a normal scope would be a side focus, but on here, that's got your illumination. Obviously it allows you to see the numbers on the turret clearly on both sides. So it really does help with that feature. Also on this, you can see I've got a little Picatinny rail mounted here on the Spuhr accessory. And on that, I've got a red dot. You don't need to mount a red dot, I've just used it there as an example. That can be used for a torch, rangefinder, or any other piece of shooting equipment that you'd like to use. The great thing about these is you're not limited to that one place. The Spuhr mount's got so many different areas you can mount it to, just to keep it out of the way, or to suit your style of shooting. So, just going to pop that over to one side. And here, as you can see, we've got a selection of the Spuhr mounts themselves. We're going to start with the QDP Spuhr mount here. Obviously QDP is quick release, and that is these levers here. Which as you can see, real solid design there, real heavy duty clip, and a nice easy to find and easy to use grip section there, so you're not going to slip and you're not going to know you're in the wrong place trying to find that in the dark. Really nice and easy to use. As with most Spuhr mounts, you've got your bubble level there. Once again, nice feature, especially these being a whiter bubble. So it's a lot easier to see in the shade, especially which will be under that scope. So you might notice in the Spuhr mounts, you've got these ridges here. That just helps bite the scope that little bit better. So it just allows it to grip on the scope. You can't feel them raised, but it does help with that grip. Obviously, with these as well, you've got what's called the Spuhr 10-degree wedge in there. That's a little metal wedge that, as you've got your scope in there, you slide that in and that self-levels your scope from the saddle. So obviously if you've got a flat saddle on the scope, a little bit like the IOR here, that will give you plenty of flatness on there to get that scope absolutely level without the need of bubbles to help you with that. So as we mentioned earlier with the mounted unit there, that's the ring caps, and as you can see there are plenty of spaces to mount that Picatinny accessory or anything else you'd like to mount on there. Moving across now is to Spuhr's newer style of rings that they've just brought out, mainly for your hunting rifles. So they call these the aesthetic rings. Reason why, as you can see, they don't look tactical, they're more of a classic style ring, look really smart on your hunting rifles. Obviously, they're not going to look particularly great on a tactical rifle, but they're not designed for that. They're designed to make your classic hunting outfit just look the part as per your simple scopes, like your Schmidt 8x56s that are used to going on there. So as you can see here, you've got the ridges inside the ring. Once again, as I mentioned earlier, that's just for the help of gripping the scope tube in there. Obviously, as you see, everything's really smoothly finished on here. Underneath, you have one Picatinny locking ring there, and obviously your mounting plates here, which instead of having horrible bolts protruding on the side, they're hidden nicely underneath. So it just keeps them nice, clean cut lines of your rifle. Next is their two-piece versions of the same ring. This, we're going a little bit in between the two now. So you've got your aesthetic rings, which are really nicely finished. On here, you can see they've now got the interface pads. Obviously, if I compare that to your standard ring tops, it doesn't look quite so smooth or smart. However, it does give you the option to mount a torch or red dot if needed. Moving across again, we've now got the reach forward of the hunting style rings. Obviously, bearing in mind on a lot of rifles on the hunting style, you're not going to have too long a Picatinny rail to mount these to. Depending on what scope you choose, you may need a longer eye relief. Or set back the other way to bring the scope closer back to you. These will also do that job. So you can see there, really nicely finished, smooth design there, and once again, them hidden away fixture bolts. Finally, we've got the blazer rings here. So these are specifically designed to go onto the blazer bases on your rifle. So there's no need for putting a horrible Picatinny looking rail on top of your blazer. These just keep the lines nice and neat and clean as per. So that sums up the Spuhr rings. A little bit about the height that you needed on the Spuhr one-piece mounts, what to do for obviously mounting on a flat top and on a normal bolt action rifle. And obviously a quick overview of the hunting rings. If there's anything you think we've missed or you'd like more clarification on, please feel free to give us a call or drop us an email or comment on the video. Thanks for watching.